Hello everyone! How are you? Fine, thank you.
Welcome to my channel where I hope to teach the fundamentals of programming and later system design and software engineering best practices so that anyone can learn to code and develop software. This is actually my first video, but I'm releasing the initial series all at once to get everyone the basics. I know coding can be tough to understand, and a lot of teachers and videos try to explain things very technically, with lots of whiteboards and markers, but to me that doesn't make any sense. If you understood the technical explanations, you probably wouldn't be looking for help elsewhere. So I plan to teach programming with real-world examples and memes and references to hopefully make learning a little bit easier, a little bit more fun. Today we're going to set up our coding language, development environment, and write our very first program. Now, if you're completely new to programming, don't worry, I will do my best to explain in human terms what all this technobabble really means. We start our journey in Pallet Town, and if you don't know what Pallet Town is, Google is your friend, and now that you're becoming a programmer, the greatest work tool ever invented. Like all good Pokemon journeys, we need to choose our starter. You have the easy to start, but less useful later on, Bulbasaur, and I swear to God, if someone mentions Mega Venusaur in the comments, I know, the analogy still works, let me get there. Which in programming land is Python. It's a bit more lenient at the start, kinda weak in the mid-game, but once you hit the machine learning AI specialization, quickly becomes OP as fuck. Next, you have your all-rounder Squirtle, pretty solid throughout your career, but you'll have some issues here and there, and in the meta, well, it gets the job done, but you have better options. For us, that's gonna be Java. It is gonna get you where you're going, and lots of employers use it. Also a pretty solid coffee bean. Lastly, we have our badass, gonna be a dragon someday, Charmander. You'll get your teeth kicked in at the first few gyms, but once you get your level up a bit and get to the late game, you're gonna destroy. This is C and its little younger brother, C++. C is ridiculously powerful, but there are a lot of nuances and pitfalls like these things called pointers and memory management that I don't understand, and really no one without a PhD does either. That makes starting with C a bit more difficult, but by the end of it you'll be pretty OP compared to other programmers, so pick your poison. We're going to start our journey with Squirtle, because it'll be a steady companion from start to finish on this journey, and we're not too worried about the meta at this point. For some languages, you'll most likely need to download them at first, but we don't have to worry about that just yet. We have a little tool that's going to take care of that for us. So let's focus on getting our environment to code set up first. Once we know what language we're using, we have to figure out how we want to write code. Obviously, pen and paper would work for writing it down, but you can't run it, it's paper. You could also do it in something like Word if you're some kind of masochist. If you want to flex on people, you could write code via this thing called Vim, which is accessed by a different thing called Terminal. But that's a bit advanced, so we're not going to worry about that. We're going to take the easy route and download something called an Integrated Development Environment, or IDE for short. Every language has a ton of free and paid-for IDEs that are specialized tools for that language. For Java, the two most common ones you'll hear about are Eclipse and IntelliJ, and which one you prefer is entirely up to you. Personally, I belong to the cult of IntelliJ, so I'm going to teach you how to install and set that up. If you want to use Eclipse, okay, be like that, I guess. Just skip to the next section if you think you're so cool and special. So going back to our best friend Google, we're going to search for a thing called IntelliJ, and then this JetBrains page here should be your first option with a nice little download link right below it. Click on that and you're going to be given two options, Ultimate and Community. We're a pretty big fan of sitcoms here on the channel and being cheap, so we're going to click on the Community download button. From here, we're going to follow the steps to download and install IntelliJ, which I'm going to fast forward through since they're pretty self-explanatory. Now that we have it downloaded, we're going to open it up, and you should see this new project button right in the middle. Click on that, and now there's a big menu with lots of options, and we're going to ignore most of it. Most of these things take an advanced sense of humor, and I don't expect everybody to understand. What you should see that is important is in the top, it's asking us to choose a JDK. So we're going to click on that, it should come up with a nice little drop down, and one of the options is to download one. So we're going to click on that, select Open JDK at the bottom, then hit OK. Wait for it to download. And done. You now have your very first programming language installed with your first IDE. Hit next until it asks you for a project name, and we're going to call ours our first meme. And now,
This is where the fun begins.
first thing we're going to do is go up to the File menu, click on that, go down to Project Structure, and check to see if you have this little SDK here. If not, click on Open JDK 16, which tells us we're using that type of Java. Next, we're going to go and right-click on this source, go to New, Java Class. Enter a name that makes sense for what you're going to write in that file. In our case, Hello Dio. Small little aside, classes tend to follow the pattern where it's all one word with every word capitalized. Now, we need to start writing our first meme, code. First, we need something that tells the computer, hey, run me. No, not that, me. For Java, that means we have to choose a bunch of random words some old dude decided made sense. I'll get into what they mean later. But for now, just memorize and recite like you're cramming for a high school history test. So we're going to write down public, static, void, main, open parentheses, string, square brackets, args. And the next thing I'm going to do is going to piss off a lot of people. You're going to put a squiggly bracket on the same line.
I felt a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror.
Now, hit that enter button a few times, and luckily IntelliJ already makes the other matching swigglies for us. This is what we're going to call a method, and yes, there is some method to the madness, but don't worry about that. I said don't worry about it. Now, you're going to write your first real line of code ever. First, we have to write some more gibberish that the same old man determined was correct, but also makes sense when you know what it all means. We're going to type system.out.println, open parentheses, and then put some quotation marks inside. Finish it up with a semicolon that says end line. In short, it tells the computer to display whatever goes between these quotes. Now, we could put some insightful real quote in there, but that's boring. We could also do hello world, like some kind of generic comp sci 101 class, but no. We named our class Hello Dio. And the only response Dio would say before throwing knives at you is, hello! Now, what we're going to do here is go up to this little hammer up in the corner. We're going to click that. That tells our computer to build all of our code and make sure that everything works together all nice and clean like. So that's going to run at the bottom, and then we're going to come over to the Hello Dio. And then what we're doing once that's done is we're going to right click on the Hello Dio and then go down to the run hello dio.main. Click on that. The computer will do a bunch of black magic. It says hello. Now dodge the. You are officially a programmer. Now go make a startup, make billions of dollars, and give me my 10%. And if you still aren't sure how to actually do that, watch my next videos. And for now,
Get back, Zelda!
like, subscribe, and comment below what you want to see next or topics you'd like to know more about.